Good evening and welcome. My name is Chad Cave, and I am the captain of the company, Westview Station 31. It is an honor to be the master of ceremonies for tonight's event. Would everyone please stand for the presentation of colors by the Frederick County Fire Rescue Honor Guard, the Fire Brigade Pipes and Drums of Greater Baltimore, and remain standing for the national anthem, which will be sung by the members of the Frederick Children's Chorus. It is my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Sandra Dalton, who will lead us in the invocation.
Thank you very much. If you're looking at your program, I am not Deacon Mike, as you can tell from St. John's. Due to a conflict, you get me. But if you would please join me in a moment of blessing for the recruit class 25. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you. We thank you for the gift of these fire recruit members. We thank you for the gift of the trainers. We thank you for the gift of the program that we could train such fine young men and women to enter into such a wonderful career, a career that not only is something that they will love, but a career that we as citizens will love, respect, and appreciate every day, especially in our time of need or in our neighbor's time of need. Father, we ask that you are with them each and every day in the execution of their duties, that you keep them safe, you keep them mindful and proud of the work that they do, And Lord, I ask that you are with each and every family member and other officers as well, my son is a police officer, God, so I always use the word officer, other firefighters and medics as well. We ask your blessing for my family in the name of our Lord Jesus, but I ask you to offer this blessing to whom you worship and honor. Amen.
Please be seated. How about a round of applause for those young ladies who sang the national anthem? In case of an emergency, I'd like to take a moment to point out the exits that are located to the rear of the auditorium, to the sides of the auditorium, and to the rear of the stage. Also tonight, Frederick County's IIT Video Services will be taping tonight's ceremony and will broadcast it on Frederick County Government Channel 19 for future viewing. You may also find it online at frederickcountymd.gov under FCG-TV. Please allow me to introduce our guests as well as thank them for their attendance at the various levels of support that they have given our organization. I ask that you hold your applause until the end. With us on stage is the Honorable Jan Gardner, Frederick County Executive. From the County Council, we have the Honorable M.C. Keegan-Ayer, Council President, District 3. Michael Blue, Vice President, District 5. The Honorable Sandra Dalton, Clerk of the Circuit Court of Frederick County. Chief Thomas Coe, Chief of the Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services. Assistant Chief Michael Darwick, Division of Volunteer Fire Rescue Services. Jim May, Chief of the Urbana Volunteer Fire Department and First Vice President of the Frederick County Volunteer Fire Rescue Association. Acting Deputy Chief Kenny Poole, Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services. Deputy Chief Leatherman, Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services. Chief Keith Bryant, United States Fire Administrator. And Mr. Stephen Jones, President of the Career Firefighters Association of Frederick County, IAFF Local 3666. Please give them a round of applause. Joining us in the audience is Susan Nickel of the Frederick County Fire Rescue Advisory Board and the Assistant Secretary of the Frederick County Volunteer Fire Rescue Association. We have Chief Pat McTighe Sr. of the Braddock Heights Volunteer Fire Department and Chief Steve Naborchek of the Wolfsville Volunteer Fire Department. A special thanks goes out to the Frederick County Division of Fire Rescue Services Honor Guard, the Montgomery County Fire Rescue Service, and the Fire Brigade Pipes and Drums of Greater Baltimore, as well as other agencies that are listed within the ceremony program. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Jan Gardner, Frederick County Executive.
Good evening. It is my great pleasure to be here this evening to congratulate Recruit Class 25, to congratulate all of your families, to thank you for your hard work and your dedication to serving the people of our community. Today, you officially become Frederick County Firefighter EMTs. Tonight's graduation has been a long time coming, and it's certainly been a lot of hard work. It's been a full year since you applied along with 1,200 other applicants for this recruit class. Tonight, your persistence and your determination pays off. When you first reported for duty in March, you didn't know most of the people who would be training with you over the next several months. Your class consists of former military service members who trained side by side with a stay-at-home mom, a private investigator, and a meat processor. Seasoned firefighters stood next to classmates with no prior fire experience. You spent 28 weeks creating shared experiences. You did whatever it takes with your hard work in the classroom, in PT, and in the field. And every single one of you successfully completed the 200-hour emergency medical technician course and are now certified both in Maryland and nationally as EMTs. Your training has been intense. Without a doubt, the career you have chosen is physically and mentally draining. Those of us who are elected officials in the county were invited to a Firefighter 101 training class by your your union leadership. And we got to try on the gear, the chunky boots, drag a charge hose, which I was unsuccessful at. And we tried the jaws of life, which I thought were very hard to operate and even to hold. The physical exertion is obvious when you look at the progress that you have made throughout this academy. Collectively, your class has lost more than 100 pounds, even as you added muscle and lost an average of 3.5% of your body fat. Before you officially begin your new assignment in the field tomorrow, I want to take a moment to remind you of something I said when we spoke back in July. With the hundreds of hours of technical training, it is sometimes easy to forget the human side of the job, the caring side, which is really most important. Each one of you who wears the uniform provides a critical service to the citizens of Frederick County. You're saving lives and protecting property. One of the fundamental responsibilities of Frederick County government and local governments across our country is to ensure the safety of its citizens. And it comes to something very simple, taking care of people. And that focus on people is a top priority for me and a top priority for you. You are in a career that is among the most trusted of public servants. You will make a difference in the lives of the people you come in contact with. The people you touch will never forget how you treated them. They'll never forget how you cared for them. They'll never forget how you made them feel when they were in crisis, maybe afraid, and having a terrible day. They will value your professionalism and your care and the service that you provided to them. You are now part of a team that functions very well in intense fire and rescue situations and a whole host of other emergencies. As part of that firehouse team, you will gel together to support each other and become part of a very special fire department family. You'll spend a lot of time together, you'll depend upon each other, you'll share meals together, and you'll have the opportunity on the job to learn something new every day. As a rookie, you'll continue to learn vital information. If you need to ask others for assistance, do so. That's what your team is there for. If you have a question, ask it. If you're feeling overwhelmed at times, your shift mates were there to help you. Your class won't be rookies for long. Another recruit class will be starting this fall with 2 more planned for the spring. We will be able to add 38 new firefighter positions in the coming year thanks to a $5.5 million SAFER grant that was awarded to the county by the Department of Homeland Security last week. SAFER stands for Staffing for Adequate Fire and Rescue Response. Our federal delegation helped to secure that funding for that grant, and we did receive the 2nd largest grant in the state of Maryland and the 8th largest in the country. The grant will allow us to speed up our hiring process so we can reduce overtime, improve response time, and provide support for our volunteer companies. Thank you for choosing to serve the citizens of Frederick County, and thank you for choosing a career that's all about helping people. In closing, I want to thank your families who are here this evening for their support over the past few months, and I want to thank them for the continued support that they'll give you in the future. I want to thank the instructors and the class coordinators, especially Captain John Newman and Class Commander Lieutenant Tyler Harner. Thanks also to Chief Coe for the work you and your command staff have done to ensure the safety of these dedicated men and women who are putting their lives on the line in service to our community. I am proud of all of you. I am proud to support you, and I'm grateful that you've chose to work in Frederick County. Congratulations, Recruit Class 25. Whatever it takes.
Thank you, Ms. Garner. And now County Council President, Ms. M.C. Keegan-Ayer has a few words for the recruits.
Good evening. On behalf of the Frederick County Council, excuse me, and all the residents of Frederick County, I want to thank you for your dedication, your commitment, your perseverance, and I want to welcome you to our Frederick County team. I don't make big, long speeches because you're not here to hear me, you're here to get your badge. So thank you so much for choosing Frederick County. Welcome. We are now part of Team Frederick, so congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, President. And now Chief Coe will introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Captain Cave. It's truly a privilege to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. Chief G. Keith Bryant began his career in public safety in 1978 in the U.S. Army, where he served as a firefighter. He joined the Oklahoma City Fire Department in 1982, where over the next 35 years he worked his way through the ranks of the department. He's held the position of firefighter, battalion chief, chief of training, and deputy chief of operations until 2005, when he was appointed to serve as the fire chief of the Oklahoma City Fire Department. Chief Bryant is the past president of the International Association of Fire Chiefs, the Metropolitan Fire Chiefs Association, and the Oklahoma Fire Chiefs Association. He has served as a member of the National Fire Protection Association and is an ex officio board member of the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. In May of 2017, Chief Bryant was appointed by President Trump to serve as the administrator of the Federal Emergency Management Agency's United States Fire Administration. It is an honor to introduce to you tonight's keynote speaker, the Fire Chief of the United States of America, Chief Keith Bryant.
Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction and the nice welcome, and especially the invitation to join you here tonight. I've been doing this for about 2 years now, and I tell people all the time, the best part of what I do now is being at events like this, being around people like you all, being able to celebrate and what these recruits have accomplished, and really celebrate the work we do as firefighters in the United States. So again, thank you for being here, and I'm happy to be here to share in recognizing this celebration and the accomplishments of the Frederick County Division of Fire and Rescue Services Recruit Class 25. I know they have put in a lot of work over the past 6 months to complete the requirements and objectives put before them. I also know that the members and staff of the Frederick County Fire and Rescue Services have done an outstanding job in preparing them and working with them over that time to see to it that they are prepared to take on this very important and crucial work in this community. And I certainly appreciate and recognize, Chief, your department staff's efforts and their work in making this recruit class a successful one. And Madam County Executive, Madam President, other distinguished guests, it's certainly an honor and a pleasure for me to be with you here this evening, and thank you for being here and showing your support. I know that's very important to these young men and women. And just to let you know that it's an honor to serve as the United States Fire Administrator. And if you don't mind, as I'm a regular occupant now of the National Emergency Training Center in Emmitsburg, I'm also claiming to be a semi or itinerant resident of Frederick County these days. I'm sure I don't need to explain to any of you how much and why I look forward to getting out of downtown D.C. and spending as much time as possible up here in the beautiful, tranquil northern Maryland countryside. So I think I just need to get one of those Maryland state flag crab stickers for my car now, and I'd be fitting right in. And most importantly, I want to congratulate and express my appreciation to the families of these recruits. Your support of your loved one here tonight, your commitment to them in the career that they're taking on is so very important and so very vital to their success, not only to this point throughout this recruit academy, but certainly over the long term. And just so you know, and you hopefully you realize this already, but your contribution to what they do is so critical, not only to their personal success, but to the success of the fire service. And so, you know, you need to understand that it's we, all of us, that make up the fire service family. So welcome to that family, and thank you so much for who you are and your support of these men and women. So recruits, I just want to briefly share some thoughts with you this evening, and I'll apologize right now
that my words won't be particularly inspirational or motivating. If you weren't inspired and motivated the day you walked in the door in March, there's probably not a lot I could say to you tonight that would get you there. And if that truly were the case, I think we would all have some concerns, Chief. So, but again, just some thoughts that may mean something to you. A little over 2 years ago, when I retired from the Oklahoma City Fire Department, as is the tradition, I was given a retirement party. My family, friends, people I worked with, both on the department, throughout the city, state, and other places were there. It was all very nice, although I thought it was a bit too much, to be honest with you. So obviously my career was being talked about, recalled, and remembered. And to be honest, as I went through that and listened to what people had to say, I was really struggling inside to really grasp what it all truly meant, what the real significance of it was. I just considered myself one of many people who had put in a career on a fire department and probably wasn't any more outstanding or less than anybody else that had. But as I went through that ceremony, I got to looking and paying attention at the faces of the people that I had worked with on the department, the people that were there when I hired on, that were examples to me and helped me along my way and get established. To the firefighters of my own generation that I kind of came up and grew up with on the department. And certainly the younger members of our department that I had had a hand in maybe helping them get going. And so by looking at those faces and thinking about all the people I'd worked with, that's when it hit me. That more than any personal achievement or recognition, more than any promotion, position, or title, that over my 35 years, what struck me as most significant was I was so privileged and blessed to have been part of some truly exceptional and outstanding work, and that I got to share in that work with some truly exceptional and outstanding people. It was the work that had the real meaning to me. It was the work that was significant. It was the work that I loved. It was all about the work. And I know when I use that term, the work, many people in this room know exactly what I'm talking about. Some people might have different ideas about it. So what I really mean is all of it, all the work. Obviously, the work involved in emergency response to fires, medical emergencies, hazardous materials incidents, technical rescues, all the fun, cool stuff, in other words, but it goes well beyond that. The work of community involvement, fire prevention activities, public education, code enforcement, the kind of work where you can't really count the number of lives you save. But I can tell you this, it is much more than you will ever rescue out of a burning building. The work of training and education to maintain our skills and knowledge, to make ourselves work better and work smarter, and to impart that to those who will follow us and who we will entrust this work to in the future. It's also the work of caring for others. Now, you may be thinking that caring for others is baked into the work, but not necessarily. You may be the most technically proficient firefighter, EMT, paramedic, hazmat technician, tech rescue specialist there ever was. But what truly resonates with people is how much you care about them, as the county executive told you a few minutes ago. And the others obviously includes those who you will work with. As a chief, I was never impressed with the individual talent and effort of any one individual as much as I was with someone who knew and accepted their role as a member of a company or a team, and that their energy and effort was focused on the success and well-being of that team. True care for others can't be faked. We are not the family that we espouse to be if we are not truly there for one another, supporting and encouraging each other, holding each other accountable for our performance and our behavior. So now by completing this academy, you've earned the privilege to be a part of this work, and I want to stress earned. You've been through a strenuous, competitive process to earn a spot in this academy. You've worked hard and applied yourself to successfully complete it. And hopefully, you realize you must continue to work and earn this privilege by continually and honestly assessing your performance and contribution, and just basically finding ways to be better today than you were yesterday. You are certainly not entitled to it. And never forget that no one forced you into this kicking and screaming. You know that this work is anything but easy and not always fun. In fact, the work is very difficult. It's messy and at times absolutely unpleasant, disgusting, and even heartbreaking. It's not always exciting and thrilling. It can at times seem routine, mundane, and even inconvenient, or not worth the time and resources if your attitude allows you to go there. It's not always, and very rarely, about the dramatic, daring rescue. It is certainly not Chicago Fire. It is not 911. And certainly not about being Mr. or Miss June in the upcoming fire department calendar. Certainly not about the biggest or coolest firefighter tattoo you can design. No judgments, okay? To be honest, it's more about the seemingly smallest, inconsequential things that sometimes had the most impact. Comforting an elderly person with no true medical emergency, but maybe who's just a bit scared and lonely. Taking the time in the grocery store to talk to a young child who's fascinated by your uniform and wants to look over and sit in your apparatus. Opening the door of your firehouse to neighbors and others so they can get to know you and feel connected to what you do. And as difficult and challenging as this work is, both physically, mentally, emotionally, it is equally and truly more so rewarding, fulfilling, and can be even sustaining at times when not much else makes sense or is right with the world. To truly appreciate it requires us to not only accept it with all its challenges, but to embrace it as something very noble and righteous, as humble servitude. We must also realize that literally millions of people over hundreds of years have established a standard of excellence that we must commit ourselves to upholding and maintaining. That standard of excellence which you've been trained to this point. And that standard of excellence that came through tragic sacrifice of life. So hopefully I've given you a few things to think about, and maybe in ways you haven't yet thought of them. You have prepared physically, mentally, and academically. And hopefully every time you hit the door, when your shift starts, your attitude will be, I have the best job in the world and I work for the best department there is. If it's not, that attitude needs a little adjustment. So it's time to be about the great work we do. People are counting on you. Do it well, whatever it takes. On behalf of President Donald Trump, Department of Homeland Security Acting Secretary Kevin McAleenan, Acting FEMA Administrator Pete Gaynor, and the entire United States Fire Administration, congratulations on this accomplishment. We thank you for who you are and what you're prepared to do. We wish you every success. And personally, I thank you for this honor to serve you and others in the American Fire and Emergency Medical Services. Be safe, take care, and be good to one another. Thanks, and God bless.
Thank you, Chief. Recruit Class 25 began with 30 individuals with varying levels of fire service experience and training, many with no fire service experience at all. RC 25 consists of personnel from many different life, a stay-at-home mom to a meat processor and a private investigator, a corrections officer to Some came from Pennsylvania, while others traveled as far away as Colorado. But now, 28 weeks later, there are 24 graduates that no longer work or think as individuals. They have trained together, they have suffered together, they have grown together as a unit. They have said farewell to former classmates that have moved on to other things. These events, coupled with the rigorous training demands, served as the fire that forged and strengthened the bond amongst RC-20. They are now a single unit in every way and have adhered to class motto. They have proven themselves as eligible, trained, disciplined firefighters, function as a cohesive unit, and are capable of making sound, educated decisions on incidents as well as in their personal lives. They are loyal to the citizens of Frederick County, and they will always place the mission first, their brothers and sisters second, and their own personal needs last. Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue our ceremonies with some words from RC-25's platoon leader, firefighter James Gonzalez. Please hold for a short commercial break.
Good evening, friends, family, County Executive Gardner, Fire Chief Coe, and other esteemed guests. On behalf of RC-25, I would like to thank all of you for being here to celebrate the culminating efforts of the last 6 months of hard work and sacrifice. I'm not necessarily referring to any sacrifices that we may have made as recruits, but rather much harder ones made by our loved ones and the loved ones of our instructors. We would not be here today preparing to walk across this stage if it were not for the continued efforts and love from our families and friends. I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to specifically thank the family of Lieutenant Harner. His little boys and wife gave up countless hours so that he could spend countless hours helping to take a group of 24 strangers from civilians to brothers and sisters committed to a common mission of serving our community. Thank you, Georgie, Mason, and Cole Harner. On family night, we were introduced to 3 rules that were meant to be a simple formula to guide our growth throughout the academy and beyond. Those rules are: 1, give 100% effort at all times. 2, take extreme ownership of everything you do. And 3, invest in the brotherhood. We're now family. These rules seem simple enough, right? How hard could it be? How hard could it possibly be to apply them? It turns out these rules were way harder than we could expect. Early on, we acted as individuals, but with the right, we'll call it motivational methods, we were slowly but surely being molded into a single unit. The favorite motivational method of our instructors was having us take trips to Brick City, where 3 stacks of cinder blocks labeled with teamwork, discipline, and knowledge stared at us every morning before PT, waiting for one of us to make a mistake as an individual, so the whole class in turn could pay for the mistake by carrying a block for the entire day. While carrying these cinder blocks for 8 hours, they were never allowed to touch the ground, tables, or rest on anything. And yes, that meant in the restroom, a buddy had to carry your burden and hold your block for you. They were even more fun after it rained the previous night, making them heavier and keeping us wet all day long. After many days of this, it wasn't too long before we were beginning to embrace the role that these 3 rules would play in our development as a unit. The first rule, give 100% effort at all times. This one should be the most self-explanatory, but it was probably the hardest to consistently put into practice. The reality was that the physical and academic demands of the academy would not be possible unless we were willing to fully commit to giving the task at hand our biggest effort. Some of us really struggled academically, and some of us struggled with physical training. This struggle is where it becomes easy to want to quit and fall short of the 100% effort required. Facing the struggle to push uncomfortable limits built both physical and mental toughness, to the point that we were able to lift ourselves and each other up at the same time. Chief Stolberg and Lieutenant McKay would often remind us, it doesn't get any easier, you just get harder. Giving 100% effort taught us to find the constraints of what we thought we were capable of and pushing past that, while at the same time teaching us to be there for each other in times of need. Rule 2, take extreme ownership of everything that you do. This rule is broad and can range from taking what might seem as a menial task and having the pride to turn it into the most important thing you do that day. Every day we took pride in cleaning our station, the classroom building, taking out the trash, or any other task that needed to be done. And even these tasks we tried to complete to perfection every time. The second aspect to this rule was a little bit harder, and that meant of being able to admit to any mistakes we may have made and accepting any consequences that came along with them. As a class, we had quite a few bumps in the road learning this ownership. Most of the mistakes we made were small in comparison, like improperly correcting a mistake on a handwritten document only minutes after being taught how to correctly do it. Forgetting belts, putting on belts incorrectly, or even maybe driving a little too fast in the academy, or forgetting your lieutenant's name 3 weeks into the academy. Any of these incidents, all of which we were given the opportunity to fess up to and own it completely before the lieutenant would ultimately find out and hand out our punishment. We've also learned to watch out for each other, as well as become not only more careful, but also more responsible for our actions. Rule number 3 is probably one of the most important that we have. Invest in the brotherhood. We are now family. In the wise words of Uncle Lieutenant Dan, this is not a new job, but it's a lifestyle change. Part of this lifestyle change meant learning about new brothers and sisters and being there with them and for them, both in and outside of the academy. This group of 24 ranges from ages 20 to 41, all from different parts of Maryland and the East Coast, but we've slowly meshed to become one. From baby showers, family dinners, Bible studies, charity runs, and helping move into new homes, we have become not just co-workers, but family. Ultimately, RC25 embraced these new rules, and they became a constant reminder to us. We started out as a bunch of soup sandwiches, and through the guiding hands of our academy staff, we've begun the transformation and become a bunch of hoo-yeah, high-speed, hard-charging go-getters with a positive can-do attitude. To any future recruits that may be in the audience, make sure you start hydrating now. Lastly, I'd like to issue a challenge to RC25. Remember these rules as we begin our careers with Frederick DFRS, and never stop trying to improve and become better the next day than you were before. Thank you, RC25. I was proud to be your platoon leader, and remember, when it comes to accomplishing the mission, do whatever it takes. Thank you.
We would like to recognize the Recruit Class 25's valedictorian. The recipient of this award must have passed all written and practical tests on the first attempt and holds the highest test score average of 90.81% overall for their class. Given the vast amount of information covered, coupled with the fast-paced learning environment, this achievement is worthy of recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, Recruit Class 25's valedictorian, Firefighter Christopher Demetriadis. Firefighter Gonzalez and Firefighter Demetriadis will now present Recruit Class 25's gift to the Public Safety Training Academy. Ms. Gardner, that's a really big plaque. We're going to have to hire DPW to reinforce the walls to hang that. It's actually a table that will go into the instructor break room, so very nice job. We will now have the presentation of Recruit Class 25's Certificates of Graduation. Recruit Training Coordinator, Captain Newman, prepare the class for the presentation. County Executive Gardner, Council President Keegan Ayer, Chief Coe, Assistant Chief Darwick, Deputy Chief Poole, Deputy Chief Leatherman, and Vice President May will be presenting the graduation certificates. The dignitaries will form a receiving line so that they may congratulate the graduates. For those who will be pinning RC25's badges, please proceed to the left of the auditorium. Family and friends are welcome to come to the front to take pictures. We ask that you hold your applause until all members of RC25 have been sworn in. Nathan Beecham, Westminster, Maryland. Pinning firefighter Beecham is his fiancee and son, Christina and Christopher Burkhead. Brandon Berry, New Windsor, Maryland. Pinning firefighter Berry is his father, Michael Berry. Lauren Crissetti, Westminster, Maryland. Pinning firefighter Crissetti are her parents, Chris and Jen Crissetti. Christopher Demetriadis, Monrovia, Maryland. Pinning Christopher is his mother, Paula Demetriadis. Sean Duvall, Jefferson, Maryland. Pinning firefighter Duvall is his girlfriend and son, Jesse Laypole and Cole Duvall. Gregory Fabella, Westminster, Maryland. Pinning Gregory are his parents, Greg and Cheryl Fabella. Jeffrey Felter, Westfield, New Jersey. Pinning Jeffrey are his parents, Todd and Laurie Felter. Brian Fletcher, Lovettsville, Virginia. Pinning Brian is his grandmother, Isabel Fletcher. Olivia Geist, Dayton, Maryland. Pinning Olivia is her mother, Marcia Leslie. James Gonzalez, College Park, Maryland. Pinning James is his mother, Kathy Gonzalez, and his son, Campbell. Bobby Good, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Pinning Bobby is his grandfather, Robert Perry, and father, Robert Good. William Harris, Jamestown, New York. Pinning William is his wife, Julia Harris. Richard Hirsch, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Pinning Richard is his wife, Yvette Hirsch. Adam Jamali, Frederick, Maryland. Pinning Adam is his mother, Khadija Sarochny. Davis Kasperwitz, Kingwood, West Virginia. Pinning Davis is his wife, Haley, and a future Kasperwitz. Austin Kessler, Urbana, Maryland. Pinning Austin are his parents, James and Stacy Kessler. Austin, Maine. Myersville, Maryland. Pinning Austin is his father and retired Frederick County career firefighter Daniel Main. Zachary Main, Urbana, Maryland. Pinning Zachary are his parents, Andy and Jill Main. Brian Martin, Westminster, Maryland. Pinning Brian is his mother, Barbara Martin. Nicole McNamara, Adamstown, Maryland. Pinning Nicole are her children, Domenico and Theodore, on stage. Carolyn is taking a rest in the audience. Patrick Norfolk, Olney, Maryland. Pinning Patrick is his wife, Jen Norfolk. Michael Powers, Westminster, Maryland. Pinning Michael is his wife, Abby Powers. And apparently a future Mr. Powers, or Mrs. Michael Rebert, East Berlin, Pennsylvania. Pinning Michael is his mother, Sarah Rebert. Michael Wright, Wheat Ridge, Colorado. Pinning Michael is his mother, Donna Konechny. Our dignitaries now take a seat. Recruit Class 25 will now retire their guide-on. Recruit Class 25 platoon leader and guide-on bearers, please come forward to retire the guide-on and present it to the Battalion Chief of Training, Lenny Stolberg. The guide-on is a time-honored tradition since the early days of warfare. They were used to alert the commanding general to the disposition of subordinate units. The guide-on is a great source of pride for the unit. Throughout the years, several traditions have developed around it. Should it be dropped or come in contact with the ground, the guide-on bearer or unit would be punished in the form of having to do various exercises. It is fiercely guarded in order to prevent other units from taking it. While in training, the recruit class commander may choose to roll up the guide-on to hide the identity of the unit due to substandard or embarrassing performance. The guide-on is left that way until the unit's performance has improved. Recruit Class Commander, Lieutenant Tyler Harner, please have your class report to the stage for the swearing-in ceremony. I would now like to formally introduce the Honorable Ms. Sandra Dalton, Clerk of the Circuit Court of Frederick County, to administer the oath of office.
Thank you again. Recruits, please raise your right arm. Individually, please repeat your name. I
Michael Wright. Michael Roberts.
Michael Powers.
Patrick Norfolk.
Nicole McNamara.
Brian Martin.
Zachary Main. Austin Main.
Austin Kessler.
Davis Kaskowitz.
Adam Jamali.
Richard Hirsch.
William Harris.
Bobby Good.
James Gonzalez.
Olivia Geist.
Brian Fletcher.
Jeff Felton. Greg Fabella.
Sean Duvall.
Chris Demetriades.
Lauren Crosetti.
Brandon Berry.
Nathan Beecham.
Do swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland, and support the Constitution and laws thereof, that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of firefighter recruit for Frederick County, Maryland, according to the Constitution and laws of this state. And I will familiarize myself with and be obedient to the rules and regulations and operational procedures of the Frederick County Department of Fire Rescue Services, and faithfully serve Frederick County in the discharge of my duties as firefighter EMT to the best of my knowledge and ability. If this is your oath, please respond individually. I do.
I do. I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do. I do. I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do. I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
You may lower your right arm. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cave, would you like to? Formally introduce an official congratulations to Recruit Class 25, who has now taken every step to be fully engaged firefighter EMT for Frederick County. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen.
Right face. Forward march.
Recruit Class 25's class commander, Lieutenant Tyler Harner, would like to take a moment to speak to his class.
Evening, 25.
Evening, sir!
Let me be clear for everybody. I'm not a comfortable public speaker. However, all the way back on family night, Recruit Class 25 was told they need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, here I am. First, I need to thank some very important people, to the public safety training facility staff, and assisted me in so many ways with Recruit Class 25. A special thank you to Battalion Chief Stolberg, Captain John Newman, Firefighter John Arnold, Sweet Lou, Lieutenant Bob McKay, Lieutenant Sean Donovan, and especially Recruit Class Commander 24, Lieutenant Bro Dan Winters. Lieutenant Winters was instrumental by providing me the foundation I needed to lead my class and by allowing me to work with his class until RC-25 arrived at the academy. And most importantly, my family. My wife, Georgie, for your understanding, your unwavering support, and being the best mom to Mason and Cole. I love you, boys. There were long weeks, some very long weeks, and you remained focused on the mission. We made it. I love you. Now on to Recruit Class 25. This will be my last time addressing you as a class. 28 weeks ago, we began this journey as 30 individuals. I told you I'd mold you into a team, and 28 weeks later, the 24 of you have certainly become a tight-knit team. You now look out for each other and act as your brother's keepers. Continue to do such. We have visited Block City many times, 525 to be exact, teaching you valuable life lessons that I hope you carry with you out of the academy gates. We have made it known to you. All you had to do to quit was hand in the resignation letters that I had you type on week 1 and drive outside of those gates. But the 24 of you put in the extremely hard work and powered through. I am proud of you, and I will always be a phone call away if you need anything or just need a pick-me-up. Looking back, we had some very fun yet challenging times. I mean, we even survived a tornado together at the academy. I gave the class 3 rules they had to live by during their time at the academy, and I made these rules meaningful for the academy and hopefully their everyday lives. To be successful in the academy, you had to live by these rules. Rule number 1, give 100% effort at all times. Rule number 2, take extreme ownership of everything that you do. And rule number 3, invest in the brotherhood. We are now a family. Recruit Class 25, you live by my rules, and I believe you have all grown mentally and physically during the past 28 weeks. I hope you live the lifestyle of a fireman, stay mentally strong, and most importantly, physically fit to do the job when the alarm sounds. One last time, thank you, 25.
Thank you, sir!
For our honored guests and staff members on stage, please move to your seats off stage so that you may view a video produced by RC25 highlighting their time at the Academy.
It kills me not to know this, but I've all but just forgotten what the color of her eyes were, and her scars or how she got them. As the telling signs of age rain down, a single tear is dropping through the valleys of an aging face that this world has forgotten. That will put me in my place, and there is no time like a present to drink these draining seconds. Seldom do these words ring true when I'm constantly failing you. Walls that we just can't break through until it disappears. So tell me now, sustained love, and how do we get out? 'Cause I don't know. That's when she said I don't hate you, but I just wanna save you while there's still something left to say. Was when I told her I love you, girl, but I'm not the answer for the
name is Lieutenant Harner. Harner. Say it with me. Harner. Harner. Lieutenant Harner.
Cause it's about to get heavy. It's about to be on. Yeah, man, slinging napalm. So nobody move. Cause I was sent to warn you. The devil's in the next room. The silence, the blinding ultraviolence. Knocking at your door, pacing back and forth, wanting out. The whispers and the screams, the stereotypical violent ritual, vicious and obscene. So now you pack your bags, the party's such a drag, and everyone can tell that you're poisoning the well. But there are no mistakes, except what you create. You need to know your place. Cause it's about to get heavy. It's about to be on. Yeah, man, you're slinging napalm. So nobody move. Cause I was sent to warn you. The devil's in the next room. Cause it's about to get heavy. It's about to be on. Yeah, man, you're slinging napalm. So nobody move. Cause I was sent to warn you. The devil's in the next room. Yeah, the devil's in the next room. Yeah, the devil's in the next room. So nobody move. Cause I was sent to warn you. The devil's right beside you.
Don't talk about it, be about it. Whatever it takes. 25 on me, 25 on 3. 1, 2, 3.
When that window or that door's closed, what kind of controlled fire is that?
Now you see why we had you back up? Was that one good? Yeah. That was a really good one.
Where my dogs at? 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 What time is it? What time is it? Dogs in the house. Dogs in the house. Who's out? Who's out? Who's out? Bring it in here. 25 on me, 25 on 3. 1, 2, 3. 25.
They wanna break me and wash away my colors. Wash away my colors. Take me high and I'll sing of you. Make everything okay, 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 okay. to nowhere. I need your help. I can't fight this forever. I know you're watching. I can feel you out there. Take me high and I'll sing. Oh, you make everything okay, 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 okay. We are one and the same. Oh, you take all of the pain away, away, away. Save me if I become my demons. Take me over the walls below. Fight forever, don't let me go. I need a savior to heal my pain. Will I become my worst enemy? The enemy. Take me high and I'll sing. Oh, you make everything okay, okay, okay. We are one and the same. Oh, you take all of the pain away, away, away. Save me if I become my demon. Take me high and I'll sing. Oh, you make everything okay, okay, okay. My demon. We are one and the same. Oh, you take all of the pain away, away, away. My demon. Save me if I become my demons.
And now Chief Co will come forward for his closing remarks.
Members of Recruit Class 25, honored guests, family, and friends, let me extend my thanks to County Executive Gardner and County Council President Keegan-Air for joining us this evening. I appreciate their words of encouragement to the class. I'd also like to thank County Council Vice President Blue for joining us this evening. Our County Executive and County Council are very strong supporters of our fire and rescue service, and for that, we're very appreciative. I'd also like to thank Clerk of the Court Sandra Dalton for being with us tonight and administering the oath of office. Chief Bryant, we're grateful that you were able to spend your evening with us and impart your words of wisdom, experience, and encouragement with the graduating recruits. To the members of Recruit Class 25, let me add my congratulations on your graduation. Tonight is the culmination of a long process. Just shy of a year ago, nearly 1,000 applicants took a written test to sit where the 24 of you are tonight. As witnessed in your class video, the last 28 weeks have been challenging, but throughout your career, you will reflect back on your academy time and consider it one of the highlights of your tenure. The bonds you have made over the last 28 weeks with your classmates are strong and will last a lifetime. But your journey is just beginning. Your field training will prove to be just as challenging as recruit training. I have some thoughts I would like to share with you as you transition into the next phase of your career. The Webster's Dictionary defines ownership as the act, state, or right of possessing something. As simplistic as that sounds, I think we need to dig a little deeper. To truly own something means you maintain it, you respect it, you take pride in it, you make it yours, you cherish it, you value it, you take responsibility for it. With those thoughts in mind, I challenge you to own every aspect of your fire service career. Take ownership in your station assignment. Maintain your fire station as if it were your home. For 1/3 of your life, it will be. Learn your response area and engage the members of your shift and use them as a resource. You have no choice, as now they are part of your family. Take ownership of your apparatus. Treat the apparatus as if you yourself purchased them. Keep them clean and polished. Thoroughly check them every morning to ensure they're battle ready. Memorize the compartment layout so you know where an item is before you need it. Take ownership of your probationary manual. Invest time in it. Study it. Know the material, as it will provide you the answers to questions you will have throughout your career. But above all, and most importantly, take ownership of yourself. Eat well, get sleep, engage in physical training, and maintain an emotional balance so you can always be ready when the alarm comes in. If you take ownership of those areas of your career, you will be well on your way to success in the fire service. On your first day of recruit training, Chief Owen shared a number of expectations you must live up to as you move on to your station assignment. Number 1, you are being placed into a position of public trust. Their trust is critical to the success of our mission. This is a trust you must earn, maintain, and a trust that can never be compromised. Number 2, firefighters are roles in our community. This isn't a choice. This is not something you can turn on or off. The citizens, our customers, this department, and the fire service as a whole expects that you will always conduct yourself in a positive manner in which your honesty and integrity is never in question. Number 3, the things you say and do matter. Know that your actions will always be connected to the Frederick County Division of Fire and Rescue Services. Make sure that you do not tarnish the badge that you have just been pinned with tonight. Number 4, you will interact with our citizens when they are having the worst day of their life. You will find them anywhere on the socioeconomic spectrum. You will find them in all conditions. You will meet them during the day, at night, in the rain, in the snow, in the heat of summer, and in the cold of winter. Your job and my expectation is that you take care of them. You treat them nice. You care for them as you would expect someone to take care of a member of your family. I know that you will be compassionate and professional all hours of the day without fail. Finally, Chief Owens told you on training day 1 that the business we operate is a monopoly. When citizens in Frederick County call 911, they don't get choices. They get the firefighters and EMTs that Frederick County Fire and Rescue sends them. And starting tomorrow, they get you. To paraphrase the late John Eversole, Deputy Chief of the Chicago Fire Department, when speaking about the public's expectations when calling 911, in 3 minutes, they expect 5 brain surgeon decathlete champions to come and solve all their problems. Recruit Class 25, I've watched you progress. I've watched you train. I've watched you perform. And I know that you are up to the task of meeting their expectations. Now let me turn to the families of the recruits and acknowledge your hard work over the last 6 months. It certainly hasn't been easy as your recruit returned home from the academy exhausted, sore, and dirty. Pushing through the door looking for something to eat and then looking for quiet time to study. Your support has been a critical component of your loved one's success at the training academy. Recruit Class 25, please join me in thanking your loved ones for their support. Without a doubt, Frederick County has a top-notch training staff that I would put against any fire department in the region. This group's commitment to the training and education of both our incumbent and recruit firefighters is simply amazing. Battalion Chief Lenny Stolberg, Captain John Newman, Captain Kathleen Harn, Lieutenant Robert McKay, Firefighter John Arnold, Training Technician Lou Rader, Administrative Assistant Shell Riley, and the cadre of peer fitness trainers and instructors, thank you for managing an outstanding recruit training program. Let me also recognize the emergency medical instructors assigned to Recruit Class 25, Lieutenant Ann Jonikin, Technician James Friend, and Firefighter Adam Miller. Once again, through their preparation and diligence, preparation of our recruits, this team has ensured a 100% pass rate of the very challenging National Registry exam. Lieutenant Tyler Harner. Lieutenant Harner, would you please rise? Lieutenant Harner was assigned to the Training Academy to serve as Recruit Class Commander for RC-25. He has been directly responsible for the day-to-day management and supervision and the training of the personnel assigned to RC-25. Through his dedication, commitment, and leadership, Recruit Class 25 has thrived, achieving high academic marks, outstanding performance on the drill ground. Lieutenant Harner pushed the members of Recruit Class 25 far past what the recruits even believed they could achieve. Like Recruit Class 25, Lieutenant Harner has completed his assignment at the Training Academy and will be rotating to a fire station assignment with the graduation of his class. Recruit Class 25, please join me in thanking Lieutenant Harner for his tireless efforts in making your class the success it has been. Lieutenant Harner, please bring Recruit Class 25 to attention for orders. Recruit Class 25. In accordance with General Order 19-021, your assignment to the Fire Rescue Training Academy is complete. You are hereby graduated from recruit training, promoted to the rank of Firefighter 1, and transferred to your respective fire station assignment. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Frederick County's newest firefighters.
Once again, I'd like to invite, changing the script. I'd like to invite Sandra Dalton back up for the benediction. Would you please rise?
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that. I like that we're human. Just a few observations, if I may. This is the 25th class, and I have been honored and privileged to be here for every class before you. And it amazes me how it just continues. The program grows. I've watched the leadership come and go. But your skills get better, your tools get better. You are so well equipped to be the public servant that God has called you to be. And it's amazing to me. And as I watch those videos every time, you do go in when people like me run out. I could never do that, and I just have tremendous awe and respect for what you are taking on, and I just want to thank you for that. If you would, please join me in a moment of thanksgiving. Father, we ask that you continue to look down on this group of new recruits that have just graduated, and from all those who protect us from the ravages of fire, flame, and pain. Continue to grant them the courage and skills to carry out their duties perfectly and safely when they must go in the face of the danger. Be by their side. Keep the devil in the other room. Watch over their families, reminding them that those who fight fire are also in your loving care. We ask this to the one we worship. Amen.
Thank you, Mrs. Dalton. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for attending this event and supporting our organization. This concludes our ceremonies. Good night.